You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
The White Ferns have broken the 10-game losing streak with an essential victory against India.
Yeah, indeed. The White Ferns have recorded a comprehensive 58-run win over India in their opening match at the T20 World Cup in Sharjah. New Zealand made 160 for 4 in their 20 overs. Sophie Devine leading the way with an unbeaten 57 off 36 deliveries. India bowled out for 102. Rosemary Mayer taking 4 wickets and Leah Tahuhu 3. Let's bring in former White Ferns all-rounder in 60 matches across T20 and one-day international formats, now commentator and cricket analyst Frankie Mackay. Frankie, thanks for joining us. This looks really convincing. 160 for 4, plays 102 all out. Did you see this coming after 10 straight defeats for the White Ferns in this format?
Yeah, I actually will admit that. Yeah, I had a little inkling there that it could be a successful game for the White Ferns. I just thought with the way that they played in Australia, I thought there were lots of good signs in the T20 games leading up to this World Cup. I think then the way they went into their warm-up games, I think there were lots of positives. And I actually reckon from having a look at those warm-up games, I saw the opposite in India. I think they looked a little underdone. I think they looked a little rusty. And they've kind of come out and they've said, this is our best T20 team ever. We've got a sports psych on board now. We are so prepared to have a crack at this. And I just thought, actually, I think that potentially they're anything but. So it really felt like the New Zealand side were in a really good place to be able to try and take them on right from game one. And I think they did. They came out with great intent. Openers put on a really good partnership to get things started. India looked rattled. And the really pleasing thing for me with that New Zealand side is they just didn't take the foot off the throat. They just did not give an inch back. So really, for me, really, really pleasing signs to kick things off.
Sophie Devine was fairly bullish in the post-match press conference, insisting they'd been playing this way and not getting the results. Is that valid, Frankie, or did something change?
I think there's a little bit of validity to it. I think that the way that they have worked over the last year or two on how they want to play cricket they've been really strong in their ideas on what they want to do. And I think it's always hard because they haven't then necessarily actually gone out and played that well. And so I think the ideas have been there of how they want to play and how they want to take the game on, but they just haven't actually been able to execute it. So I think it takes a really strong team to be able to cop some of the criticism and deal with some of the outside noise around the results and how things are going, and actually be able to kind of stick to script and stick to that they know that when they play well, this is what the performance is going to look like, and it's just trying to put those things in place. So I think it can be a little hard at times to justify that to the outside world. I think it's hard to, when you're not winning games, to keep saying, well, actually, we're doing the right stuff, we're training really hard, we're ticking all the right boxes, we know this performance is there, but no one else sees it quite yet. So I think really good for them, and it's just a little bit of self-belief as well. You know, you winning is a habit. If you continue to lose those games, it will chip away a bit of the self-belief. So the fact that they're able to get a win, and a big win to start things off, I think they're in a really good place, and I actually think that team knows they're in a really good place as well now.
Rosemary Mayer 4 for 19, Leah Tahuhu 3 for 15. Are pace bowlers going to be a bit more important than we thought they might be at this World Cup?
Yeah, you get to see a little bit of a difference between the two venues, between Dubai and Sharjah. You're going to expect that perhaps as well under lights that the seamers are going to have to do a little bit more of the work. The ball's going to go around a little bit. And also I think that as the tournament progresses, that's where you'll maybe see that the spinners come into it more. They got the tournament a little bit last minute, so maybe the preparation and the amount of surfaces they've got ready to go won't quite be as per norm. And obviously it's roasting hot over there. I think it was 38, 39 degrees for the game. So I think the longer the tournament goes on, the more you're going to see the spinners come into it. And teams have definitely gone over with plenty of spin bowling resource. But early games have shown there's definitely a little bit early on for the seamers, and they can put some real pressure on too.
Now, only the top 2 in each of the 5-team groups make the semis. 3-time defending champions Australia in our group. So this is probably a silly question, but how big a result is this against India to our tournament hopes of progressing through to the semi-finals?
Oh, massive. I mean, you look at the way the pools were drawn, and everyone's kind of talked about our pools, the pool of death a little bit, and that you had to be right on the ball right from game one. You've got India first, you play Australia second. You run the risk that if you don't win one of those first two games, then actually your tournament's all but over. And a little bit like what we saw with the Black Caps at the recent T20 World Cup. If you're not on your game to start with, then it's over very, very quickly. So I love the way that this White Ferns team, they've had that series against Australia. They've had warm-up games. They are fully prepared, ready to go, and they've shown it right from game one. The cool thing is now, if they turn up and they beat Australia, it puts a loss next to India, a loss next to Australia. Those two teams then have to play each other. Only one of them's getting out of it with a win, so that basically will end the tournament for one of the, I'd say, the two top favourites to go home with the cup. So I don't think you can understate this result at all. I think it is huge for this New Zealand team. I think the confidence they're going to gain from it, the fact that it puts you in contention. You win two more games, you're talking semi-finals, and then all of a sudden you've only got to win two games of cricket from there, and you're going home with a big cup and a big fat cheque as well. So I think it's massive. It'll put a real dent in the confidence of India as well. They've got a lot of pressure on their shoulders. And look, the way the Australian team have played that recent series against us, played their warm-up games, they are very beatable, and I think every team around the world at the moment is looking at them saying, hey, they've come to a World Cup with no Meg Lanning, not playing that well. Actually, this is our time to tip them up. And the Australian girls, they'll feel the pressure too. They will definitely feel the pressure of expectation being defending champs. So for mine, I think you could not have scripted a better win. Contributions from your top order, seamers doing a good job, spinners contributing. It just felt like one of those performances where, if you're the coaching staff, you go home and could not be happier with how that started.
Brilliant summary, Frankie. A very good way to start for the White Ferns. Long may this continue over the next month or so. Thanks for taking the time for a chat as always.
No worries, Piney. Always happy to talk, especially when we're winning, and hopefully we get to talk about winning a World Cup too.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, Frankie. Let's hope so. It started off pretty well. Frankie Mackay joining us, former White Ferns all-rounder and now cricket commentator.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.